What is going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back again with another live stream for you guys. Plenty of transfer news doing the rounds over the past few hours, should I say. I'm joined here to go through all with the one and only Brian Daigle from Tottenham on Tour. How are we doing today, Brian?
Someone needs to pinch me. They really need to pinch me hard, because what is going on here, it's unbelievable, isn't it? Every day, new transfer rumours and big transfer rumours. Apart from that, absolutely loving this weather and loving being here. How are you, my man?
Yeah, look, the sun is shining. Brilliant. Everything seems to be good. It's very, very hot and sweltering today, so if you see any of us sweat, please bear with us. But we shall start with the big news that was breaking last night, and that was coming from Alfredo Badula, and he was talking about Inter Milan striker Lautaro Martinez. Obviously, we know Lautaro Martinez well after last summer with our failed attempt, and he reports that Tottenham will present a bid for Lautaro Martinez worth up to 90 million euros to Inter Milan. However, the report also does say that Martinez does want to stay at any cost, and Inter Milan do want to keep him. Longari follows off the back of that story, saying Lautaro strongly wants to stay. Tottenham will make an important offer to Inter Milan for the striker, and it'll be up to Inter and Lautaro whether they accept. He has a release clause reportedly of 105 million euros. So no, not too far away from a potential transfer offer that apparently we're willing to pay for him, 90 million euros. For me, as much as I'd love Lautaro to come, as much as I think he's an unbelievable striker, and I think he puts real pressure on our forward options if he does arrive at Tottenham, and I would love him through the door. And I think a 90 million fee would be a serious statement of ambition of what we want to do this summer. I do find it hard to believe that this deal does get done, especially with Lautaro only last October signing a new 5-year deal. I don't see him wanting to go anywhere. They're obviously challenging for league titles consistently at the moment, 3 years in a row now. Obviously winning one 2 seasons ago. He's been instrumental with that. He'll probably be, with the talks of Lukaku coming back to Inter Milan, he should be licking his lips at that possibility of that return to the link-up they had when they won the league 2 years ago. The fact that he doesn't want to leave, the fact that Inter Milan potentially are going to make it hard for us to buy him and not going to push him out the door. I mean, unless we break his release clause and then give him so much money that he has to say yes, I don't really see this deal coming to fruition.
So the one thing you got to add on that as well is they're trying to bring Dybala in as well.
That's also true.
So if they bring in Dybala, there's 2 strikers coming in. They may... We're looking and they're saying that we want Bastoni and it's the money, but they may want to keep their defence intact. And if they bring in 2 new attackers, then Martinez becomes easier to get out the door, obviously, and will bring in a bigger fee. I love the player. I'm like you. I don't think this one gets over the line. As much as I'd love to see him at the club, I just can't see it happening.
Yeah, I think there are too many things going against the deal. I mean, if it is true, apparently, reportedly, by the way, this morning, the deal, according to Sport Italia, had the bid was rejected. I don't know how true that is, the £90 million bid. And that is true. Are we going to go much higher? Although on the flip side, would we be stupid not to go higher, considering if we're willing to pay up to 90 million? Would we be stupid not to just go the extra 15 million euros and break the release clause and then really put pressure on them to see if he would really come?
Yeah, I mean that's the way I would look at it as well. If you've got 90 million and it's going to cost 105 to get him out of it, you may as well push the boat out and go for it. We tried this last year, didn't we? And obviously it fell through. Whatever happened. And now this has come around again. And if you want to make a true statement signing, this would be it, wouldn't it? It really would. A fantastic player. He would be incredible in the Premier League. But also, one of the things I heard is, and Ben Kaufman was talking about it as well, he's bought quite a bit of property in Milan. And apparently Milan have very, very strict rules about people, only residents and Italian people living in Italy can own the property. So unless he changes it into a different name, that could be another part of the part where he says he's in love with Italy, isn't he? A lot of the Italians or Italian people in Serie A, are loving life in Italy, aren't they?
They are. And Skriniar says he would want to stay into Milan forever. He says he wants to become a legend. Bastoni, wants to stay there. So who are they going to sell? They really need to sell.
Exactly.
maybe the situation's been exaggerated because they did get a lot of money last summer for the likes of Lukaku, for the likes of Hakimi. They got like nearly 200 million just for those two players. So is it? I mean, we keep hearing reports of their skint and they need to and they need to sell and they need to make a profit of X amount. But I mean, if all these players are desperate to stay and they're not going to push any of them out the door, then, I mean, do they have to push one of them out the door? I don't know. It looks like Skriniar's most likely at the moment to go to PSG, but I don't know what the real situation is, because I remember one summer there were wide reports that Arsenal had no money and Arsenal was skint, and they didn't have European football, and then they went out and spent big money on Pepe and big money on these ones out of nowhere. I mean, obviously it didn't work out well for them. I'm just saying sometimes reports can be exaggerated about how skint a club can be.
No, that is true, but I think with Inter Milan there is a need to get the books balanced. It might not be as severe as we think it is, but I think it will come to a point where they will push one out the door. Then it's just down to us, obviously, to or whatever team they sell to for whatever player, to make sure they can match the wage demands or personal demands of the incoming player for that team. I think Inter will have to get rid of someone, but I don't know if it's as severe as they're making it out to be.
Yeah, and also in terms of him in the team coming to Tottenham as well. Obviously, we have the Conte factor, so he was brilliant under Conte, so that's one thing going in our favour. But here at the moment, he's a star at Inter Milan. He's starting every week. He's the main man there. They absolutely love him there, and he's the team is like almost built around him. Tottenham, if he comes to Tottenham, he's going to have to fight for his place big time with the likes of Kane and Son battling out for him. He's not going to be a guaranteed starter every week. I'm not saying he's going to find minutes hard to come by, because I don't agree with that. But I do think he won't be as much of a nailed-on starter as he is at Inter Milan. So and there's not an obvious place for him in the team as much as there is at Inter Milan. So maybe that also one thing that would swayed him deciding to not come to Tottenham in that favour. Because if he went to someone like, for example, if he went to Chelsea, he knows there's a place for him in the team. Lukaku's going, that slot's there, he's 100% starting pretty much. But at Spurs, it's like I know, I'm not saying Kulusevski's better than him, but we have Kulusevski, Son and Kane. He's not much of doesn't want to play off the right. I mean, he can sometimes play on the left, but that's not his natural position. So then it just leaves Kane position. And then in the biggest games, like if we have a cup final, is he definitely going to get the nod? Like, we don't know. And unless we play a 3-5-2, then he probably partners Kane. But then where does that leave Son? Left wing back? I mean, he can't be doing that. So
we've seen that before, haven't we?
So it's a difficult one in terms of. Obviously, I want him, and I think it really shows ambition to get him through the door, because obviously we're going to have a lot of games next season. I just think maybe in this situation, unlike someone like Richarlison, where even though there might not be a clear space for him, coming to Tottenham represents an upgrade for his career, because he's got Champions League football, he's playing with better players. Well, Lautaro Martinez, as much as, I mean, Inter Milan are a massive team, a massive club, big stadium, massive fan base, probably a bigger club than Tottenham. So it doesn't represent a massive step up in terms of a career move, enough to the extent where he would give up maybe what he has at Inter Milan to come to Tottenham to fight for his place. But I might be wrong, but that's how I see it.
No, I'm pretty much bang on with you. I mean, we see a lot of people come to the league because they just want to play in the Premier League. How many people do you hear saying, I've always wanted to play in the Premier League? The Premier League's the best league in the world. Well, Martinez it seems to be delightfully happy at Inter. If he does come, like you said, he's definitely not a first teamer, but does he want to come and have a bit of competition? I know you've been the star at your club and you're the darling of the club, but do you want to try and see if you can do it elsewhere? That could be a factor. But I think if you're to weigh up all the pros and cons in Martinez's head, I think he still favours at Milan. It would have to take a stupid wage to come here, and let's face it, I would imagine Kane is on a match the highest payer, same as Lloris probably, so that's two people you'd be raising their salaries as well as Martinez. I'm like you. I think the Richarlison one has got a lot more legs than this one. Would I prefer Martinez? Yes. Do I think it will
He's
get
a better
done?
player, obviously, but
much better. But I think, like you've been saying with the evidence you've been providing me all week, Richarlison seems like the one that's got more legs to it, I would say, in this transfer saga.
Makes more sense.
Yeah.
And also, like, He's pretty much, we're paying double pretty much, aren't we?
Yep.
For Martinez, and we are Richarlison. And as much, you could argue he's twice the player. I don't know if he's that much better than him, but he definitely is a better player. But do I really see us paying 90 million? I don't know. I mean, that's nearly 100 million for a player that's not a guaranteed starter. Are we really going to do that? I mean, but it's difficult because unless you do that, because of the quality we have, unless you do that, there's always going to be a massive drop-off in quality when you rest Kane or Son.
The other thing I will say about this, and let's just say he is available at 105 million. What's that work out? 90 million pound or
something about 90 million pounds.
90 million pound. We've apparently only got that 150. Obviously, there's Champions League money and money
plus
coming
player
in.
sales. And
of course, we got that. But would I rather see a huge chunk of it go on Martinez, or we get in, let's say, a Spence, Richarlison, and maybe near the tail end a Bastoni with the income? I'd rather pick that three than like splurge out massively, especially in this position. This position, yes, we've got the top two as in Son and Kane, and we've got Kulu, but we need a bit of steel in there, and then money for other areas. So I wouldn't want to blow a huge chunk of this on a striker. If it was a left centre back, then yes, because I think that's where we need open heart surgery in that defence.
I feel like I just think there's too many things going against this deal logically that I just can't see it getting done. A lot of people saying it's just press nonsense and stuff like that, which is could very well be the case. I think maybe the fact that we were in for him so heavily last summer, and now that we didn't even have Conte then, and now we do have Conte. Maybe people are obviously, or journalists are thinking, well, surely Tottenham are going to be back in for Lautaro Martinez this summer. But I mean, we might well be. I think it's very unlikely. So I wouldn't get too excited about this one happening. But I guess the fact that we potentially are making a bid is something to know, and definitely is an exciting proposal. And who knows, maybe Inter Milan will turn around and say, yeah, let's do it. And if that happens, what a signing we can have on our hands. But that is that potential deal. Another bit of breaking news coming out of Spain and coming out of Sky Sports today, and that is concerning Emerson Royale. And one sec, Sky Sports are saying that Atletico Madrid are interested in signing Tottenham defender Emerson Royale. Di Marzio from Sky Italia says Atletico Madrid have made an approach to sign Emerson Royale and are now leading the competition to sign him. AS Roma are also interested in the Spurs defender. However, Ekrem, he's not the best source, but Ekrem Konor has tweeted back, and he said that he claims that despite interest from Atletico Madrid, Tottenham do not want to sell Emerson Royale as he remains an important player for Antonio Conte, which is baffling to hear if that's true. But that's what Ekrem Konor is saying, although important to know he's probably the least reliable of all the... Oh, for sure. He's not a very reliable source at all, but he did tweet that. Look, Atletico Madrid potentially in for Emerson Royale. Do you think he would fit in well? A club like Atletico Madrid, who play 4-4-2, kind of with four at the back, and he's quite defensively sound.
Yeah, I think he will do better in a 4-4-2. He was bought as a right back for Nuno, wasn't he? And then was forced to play right wing back for a Conte. So I think if he goes to a flat back four, he will be better suited. He knows the Spanish league well, obviously. One thing I will say is I've heard this week from various places, not just even I think on Sky Sports, that even Tottenham was saying that Emerson is available for transfer. So for the Ekrem guy you said saying no, he's a key figure. I'll take that with a pinch of salt. But I think Emerson will do better in a flat back four. Hell, I think if we played a flat back four, he could do a lot better than he has been. It just hasn't worked out, has he? No. There are going to be casualties in this summer of craziness, let's say. So I think he will be one of them.
Yeah, I agree. I think if we can get our money back from Atletico Madrid for him, or a minor profit even, I think that's a good deal for everyone. I actually think, look, to be fair to Emerson, he had a tough season, but he had a great end to the season. Yep. When we really needed him to step up in big games, Liverpool, Arsenal, he really did. And you've got to give him credit for that. And he actually played really well. And he showed what he can do on that right wing-back spot. But there are big question marks whether he is of the required attacking quality to really make the difference in the final third and get regular goals and assists like maybe someone like a Perisic can do. So are those question marks ever going to go away? that's what Conte has to decide, and it looks like he decided probably not. I don't think he's ever been that player throughout his career to get regular goals and assists from fullback. So from what I've seen as well, I don't think his crossing looks or finishing looks particularly good, and he's not. It doesn't have like a Matt Doherty where has those timing of runs in the box, continually getting himself in dangerous positions. He showed a bit of it, but he didn't quite show he was on Doherty's level to do that. Yeah. So I think it would be a good transfer for him. I think it would be a good transfer for us. And I think it's probably best that we do that, and then obviously we get Spence in, and then we can see maybe later in the window of getting someone else, maybe a bit more experience with a bit more quality. But I think it's interesting though that Atletico are in for him, because you would think with the way Spurs fans talk about him, you'd think he would be going to like the Championship or something,
Yep.
But I think he's probably better than we give him credit for as a fan base.
I think so. I mean, the things that you touched on, two things I wanted to talk about first of all, which is obviously I want to see Spence come in before Emerson comes out. So, and then you've got to think another right back's got to be coming in, unless he's going to move Perisic to right back and keep with Reguilon and Cesc, because we can't just go in with Spence as the only right back. So that's one thing we need to make sure of. So we've got to cover, and obviously there's another right back in as well to help Spence should it be him. Yeah, when it comes to, I mean, I really wanted him to score that header against Arsenal. It was so close. He just hit it directly at Ramsdale, didn't he? Anywhere else that would have been a goal. He did come on. He did come on and start improving near the end of the season. But you're right. When it comes to Matt Doherty, who did it at Wolves, and we could see what he did regularly, he just didn't have that capabilities with him. He scored the goal against Newcastle with a set-up from Doherty. But yeah, he hasn't got the attacking prowess of Matt. So yeah, it's him. He's the stronger one, isn't it, out of the two?
I mean, for Conte's system, I would say, yeah.
That's
the thing. I think he's more suited to it. So, but it looks like that interest could potentially be stepping up. And is it a case you think we should be able to get our money back for him, or do you think we're going to have to take a hit on him? Because it's only been one season, and I don't know. I don't think it's been the. I mean, I don't think he's been brilliant. No. I don't think it's been the unmitigated disaster I think all Spurs fans maybe say it is.
Well, I'm trying to remember with Atletico. Once they got let go Trippier, they got a right back of any substance, or
they got. I think they still got Vasalko, don't they? Vasalko, the Croatian.
Okay, so it all depends how badly they need him or want him as well, doesn't it? I mean, I would sell for the same amount. If an offer came in that was the same amount, or give or take a couple of million here or there on either side, I would do it. But only once Spence is in, or the right back of choice replacement is in, so we're not left short. Yeah,
I agree with that. And of course, I mean, we shouldn't be left short if we sell Emerson in June. I mean, that surely leaves enough time, you would think, to get a new one in. I think Spence. I mean, we'll talk about Spence in a bit, but it seems to be moving on nicely. The Jed Spence one, but I think if Emerson, if what Ekran says is true, like, how would you feel about going into the season with Emerson still at the club? Do you think maybe like he could improve, and maybe what he was showing at the end of the season could be his true quality, or are you thinking, look, I don't think he did it for the majority of the season, and on that basis, probably best just to admit defeat? Because he showed good quality at the end of the season, so maybe that is something to build on for him.
Listen, for me, the last 4 games there were flashes. Against Liverpool, he was very, very good at Anfield. He did a great job there, and he started to show signs, but that's all it was. I don't think we can underestimate how imperative or how crucial a pre-season under Conte is. And you never know. Once he's got him 6 weeks, where he's got him all day, every day, to just literally drill him and get him into shape, as well as get him a bit more tactical aware, it could have a huge difference. Am I thinking it would, or willing to take the risk? Not really. I think it'd be best for both parties to step away. But if he is there, well, then it's not going to be like, oh, for God's sake, if you know what I mean. I'd rather he left, but if he's still here, then so be it.
Would you want him maybe included in a deal for Carrasco? Carrasco from Atletico, maybe that's
not a bad idea.
Because he's obviously one we've been interested in a lot.
Yep, that's not. If that's the way it could be. Have you seen how we're starting to get? And I think this is Paratici, isn't it? He loves a player swap with cash.
Yeah, he does.
So these seem to be filtering through quite a few with us now. We've had it with Villarreal for the Celso. We had it for Lamela and Brian Hill. So I think this may become a part and parcel of our practice under Paratici. And if so, so be it.
All right, so that's the story about Atletico going in for Emerson Royale. So we'll keep an eye on that one. There should be some developments in the coming weeks or so. Next up is about the signing we've all been waiting for. And obviously, Yves Bissouma passed a medical yesterday at Hotspur Way, and he is set to be announced officially at any moment today. It could be right now, it could be in an hour, it could be this afternoon. And whenever it is announced, we will let you know. But according to Fabrice Hawkins, Bissouma has passed his Tottenham medical, and he will be a Tottenham player. And Romano follows on from the news of Bissouma saying, after Bissouma, it's absolutely not over for Spurs, with more signings to come. So very, very exciting. Obviously, the Bissouma deal we've spoken about a lot, but I just can't get over the fact that we're getting such a good quality player for such a cheap price, and I'm really, really excited about his arrival now. I think we can say that. Apparently the photos have been done, the interviews have been done, his promotional stuff is just about editing it and getting it out there. So not sure when it's going to be, but I'm sure Spurs will probably put out a hint at some point, like, yep, something's coming up, and then we'll get the news.
I'll tell you what, they should have given it to Jake over here to edit. It would have been out a lot quicker.
100%.
Without a doubt, with all the great stuff he does. But no, listen, they're doing bits and pieces. Everything's been done. It's just, do you remember when this happened with Bale? Where we all knew it had been done when he came back with Reguilon, and it just took ages and ages and ages for them to release it. It's like we all know it's done. Just announce it. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe it's the suspense. They're waiting like an EastEnders or Coronation Street cliffhanger, waiting for us to catch it. But it will come out, and hopefully it'll be today. Hopefully it'll be today. What a nice way to get into the weekend. But he is a Spurs player, let's face it. Like you said, the pictures have been done, the interviews have been done. It's just that official announcement. And I'm still waiting to see what Perisic's number's going to be. And then they haven't released any numbers or anything, have they? So that will be interesting, because if he gets to number 8 or something like that, we'll know that Harry is out the door. But we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, this is great news for us, and let's just hope it does get announced sooner, and then we can just put it to bed and move on to the next one.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's a brilliant deal. It's a deal that we've got over the line very quickly as well, with minimal fuss. And I think he's one where we're gonna be. I think. Looking back, I think anyway that this is going to be an absolute bargain. And I think right now people see Bissouma as a very good player, but once he starts playing regularly for Spurs, I think people are going to start to notice how good he actually is. And this guy could be what he's already proving at Brighton. He's one of the best in the league at what he does. And get him under Conte, it's going to be scary, I think. I think he's going to explode into a brilliant player. Oh,
that is for sure. I mean, I've had a lot of my friends messaging me that aren't Spurs saying the second I see Bissouma in a Spurs shirt, to me his value already goes up to 50, 60 million.
Exactly.
That's like literally the second he puts that shirt on and the deal's signed.
He
is a wonderful player with all the ability that he's shown at Brighton. And it's an exciting time to have someone like him in our midfield to just boss it and run it. And for me, he goes straight into the first team, straight in.
Yeah, has to. Who would your prefer to be? And then if we're playing a 3-4-3, it's going to obviously look. He's got options now.
Yeah.
With Bissouma there, but who would, if you're in a cup final, let's say, who would your 2 be? Obviously, it's tough to say because you don't know how well Bissouma's going to fit in just yet. But do you think he's going to? It's going to be like, who do you reckon gets the nod?
I want to say Højbjerg because of my love for him, and you know my love for him. But I've got a feeling him and Bentancur are going to hit it off. I've got a real feeling that them two are going to hit it off. But that also, I see the Højbjerg and Skip, when they played in midfield at the start of the season, they looked like they were getting a good understanding together. So it's a case of Willis. Some people have been saying to me that they reckon they might have it for set games, like let's say your big games against like a big and powerful team like a Stoke, a Burnley or whatever. He'll go with Højbjerg and Skip, 2 more powerful, and then for other games he will use Bentancur Bissouma. So I think we will see some variation, but he might have a main two that he uses for one type of game and another two. But this is the great thing with the squad rotation and building this midfield up. He can have a bit of flexibility. It's not like, right, we're going to play this, like we were saying yesterday, Højbjerg and Bentancur had a bad game last season. Guess what? Next game, they play again. They won't be allowed to do that.
I've got a feeling, actually, that Bissouma is going to be more rotated with Bentancur. And I actually think he trusts Højbjerg more in a weird way. I think Højbjerg is his main man. I think we all underestimate Højbjerg. I think because Bentancur came in and really revolutionised our centre midfield options and really took us on a bit. Everyone thinks that he is the key to it, but actually, what he did was give Højbjerg a competent partner for the first time, pretty much since Højbjerg's been here. And that's what, and I think Højbjerg has been our best midfielder for me since Bentancur's come in. And I think it's going to be interesting to see. I actually think it's going to be predominantly Højbjerg and Bissouma for me. That's going to be the two. As much as I love Bentancur, I think Bentancur's brilliant as well.
So listen, you know how I feel about Højbjerg, and then what you got to remember with Højbjerg is, and not just for Tottenham, for all teams around the world, he has played over 100 games for the club in 2 seasons. That's the durability and the engine and what this man delivers. If whether you like Højbjerg as a player, love him, don't like him, think he's overrated. If we did a survey of Spurs fans saying, right, one player you could guarantee that would be fit pretty much for every single game, guaranteed, you're picking Pierre-Emile Højbjerg. He is the most reliable, the guy that will limp onto that pitch and put on a 90-minute performance. So you can't underestimate what he has done in the 2 years that he's been here.
Exactly, and I think that's what I've got a feeling it will be. As much as I think, look, you got to remember Højbjerg and Bentancur both go to the World Cup as well.
Yeah.
So who knows what's going to happen if they're going to come back injured or anything. And second half of the season, whether they're going to be able to play as many minutes as as they were in the first half, or if their minutes are going to have to be managed and stuff like that. So that's also why a crucial reason why Bissouma is such a big signing for us. And look, I'm absolutely delighted. Of course, when the announcement happens, we will let you know. And let's see how that progresses, because that Bissouma announcement is going to happen any minute now. Next up, we have more on Jed Spence. And first off, we've got from Fabrizio Romano. He says, Borough are waiting to receive an official bid from Tottenham for Jed Spence. Spurs are interested and have been since March. And that's from Romano. And from Scott Wilson of the Northern Echo, he says that Nottingham Forest appear to have admitted defeat in the battle for Jed Spence and are now going after Ainsley Maitland-Niles. So it seems like...
Poor Forest now going for Maitland-Niles.
Yeah, look, it seems as though... it seems clear to us that Tottenham have been the favourites for a while. Yep. We just haven't been able to get a satisfactory offer through the door, which Borough can agree on. Maybe they're asking for a bit too much, because Romano said a few days ago that Borough want a similar fee to that we're paying for Bissouma, and obviously I think we want to pay like 15 million or so. So it does seem to be a bit of a gap, but hopefully there's enough wiggle room to get that deal done.
Yeah, I think this one will get done. Middlesbrough, I don't see where they're getting this valuation from, in all honesty, but they know that we want this player badly. They know we've got 150 million. It's like, oh, hello, let's whack a few million more on this. I personally think this deal is more about they want to get a bigger lump sum up front rather than the actual value itself. So I think that's where the wiggle room is. Listen, we expect this. We expect this to get done. We expect this to get done. I'm sure it will do. It's just taking a little bit longer than we thought, because last Friday we got told it'd be done in 72 hours. And here we are next Friday, and it's not been done, but I do expect it to get done.
Yeah, it's been dragging on for quite a while, wasn't it? Now, on a supposed deal that isn't meant to be that much big of an outlay, or should be fairly simple to run, it has taken a while, but hopefully this gets done sooner rather than later. And there's another one I'm very excited about, and I think he could be a very good option at wing back. There's just a few question marks I have about his adaptability to the Premier League and stuff like that. Obviously, he's had a fantastic season, got Young Player of the Year in the Championship, and he had a brilliant performances in the FA Cup. But whether we can guarantee those performances will immediately translate to Premier League football, is a big ask for a 21-year-old. But hopefully, with the due diligence that we've done, will be enough to suggest that he will be able to translate that. And physically, I do watch him sometimes. I think this league is too easy for him. Just breezes past people like they're not even there. So maybe there is something to that. But I don't know. It is just a bit of a question mark, isn't it?
It is. And for me, as I've said to you before this week as well, this is the position that we just need to, excuse me, finally say we found the Kyle Walker replacement and just shut the door and say, right, this is the right back going forward for the considerable future, because this has been a problematic position for a long time, and it just needs to get resolved. And hopefully Jed Spence has got all the capabilities and attributes that Conte wants and needs, and seen how he can improve him. And this could be the answer, but it's unknown, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. That's the problem, I guess, with signing a 21-year-old from the Championship. Those question marks will always be there until people are proven wrong. And the only way we'll know if he's ready for the Premier League is to him playing the Premier League, and that's the reality. Next story we have is again about Christian Eriksen, and that's another story that doesn't go away. And this one, first of all, from David Ornstein, he says Champions League football is not a deal breaker for Eriksen. He will give serious consideration to Manchester United's offer, which obviously apparently they're confirmed now to have made an offer. However, Ed Aarons of The Guardian has come back, and he says that Man United and Tottenham are both believed to have held talks over a potential move for Christian Eriksen this week, with Spurs tipped to snap up the player who has 51 goals in 226 appearances for Spurs. So The Guardian says that there have been talks to Spurs as well, and he believes that Spurs are the ones tipped to sign him. Do you think in a straight shootout between United and Spurs it's a clear choice for Eriksen, or do you think it's one he will have to mull over quite a bit?
I think it's heart and head, isn't it? If it's head and it's financial, as we've heard, it may be 350 grand a week at United, and that is huge money, considering he might not play every single week, or who knows how that wage is structured. But if he's thinking with this heart, I can go back to London, I can walk back into a team and a club I know and love, played for, they got Antonio Conte, won a championship with, and I've got Champions League football, then it's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, I completely agree. One sec. I think he'd be a phenomenal signing for us. I think he's exactly the kind of creative passer that we need in the midfield, which we don't have. It comes into a brand new, a different Tottenham to the one he left. And I just really want him through the door. I think it would be a great story as well. The fact that he's gone through everything he's gone through, and then he comes back home to Spurs where he's loved. And you saw the reception he got when he was at Brentford and we played them. He got an unbelievable reception. It was as if he was our player, the way we were chanting about him. And I think he is such, I think the talent, I mean, people forget. People will just look back on his last year and say, oh, he didn't play very well for his last year. And people got to remember, first of all, Spurs were pretty bad in general for our last year, not just him. And second of all, how good was he when he was at his best? One of the best in the league, one of the best creative midfielders in the league. And what I'm seeing at Brentford is him returning to that kind of form. And that can't be ignored. And if he's on top of his game, there are few better players in European football at being a creative midfielder than Christian Eriksen. And the fact we don't have one as well, the fact that he's 30 years of age, he's got a few years left in him as well. He wants to play Champions League football. He's coming back to a manager he's played under before at Inter Milan. I think it just makes so much sense for him to come back.
It does. And, I mean, in his last season, that's where I was very, very frustrated with him and annoyed with him. And I actually started calling him Where's Wally, because in all the big games he went missing. So that's why I started calling him. But what we've got to remember, we haven't really spoken about this as well. We kept talking about, if he comes back, about his relationship with Son and Kane, and his potential with Decky. You've also got to remember how pivotal it was for him having Rose and Walker running down the touchlines, and now to have Perisic with him will be another asset that he can use as well going forward. He can spray the ball out wide. On his day, he's sensational. On his day, like I remember the last season at the Lane, he was incredible, and he used to have a 2-3 month period where he was just untouchable during the season, like 2-3 months straight. he was absolutely on top of his game. And obviously with his new lease of life that he's getting after the tragedy that he suffered in the Euros, this is just win-win. With Bissouma getting through the door, this is the final piece of the midfield jigsaw for me, and a must sign.
Yeah, absolutely must sign. I think would be stupid not to like do everything we can to get him through the door, because I can't think of a player we can sign for on a free transfer, especially who we're going to be able to get for that quality. Without and imagine a free transfer. I think even if it is 300 grand a week, I know wages are obviously all that kind of stuff. They're talked about within the club, and the players can get distracted by them. But you think about it, a player of Eriksen's quality is what, 40, 50, 60 million pounds of a player. So just to get him on a free transfer, it's almost worth it to pay the 300 grand a week.
Yeah, I can't see us paying him 300. I know what you're saying. I can't see us paying him 300 grand a week for him at all. I can see him being on par with Kane. Easily see him being on par with Kane. I just don't think we stretch that much further. But yeah, for a free, like we said, there's no settling in period, because he'll know the club better than most people that are still there, and he will just be a great addition, and it'll be very exciting, because I think if he can come back and show what he did at Brentford, or those 2-3 months where he was on his game as an ex-Spurs player or former Spurs player, and keep that consistently, then we will have a better Eriksen than left us.
Yeah. I agree. And Brandon Troller with the super chat says, do we think we still need a fifth centre mid? Winksy, outsy, pouncy. But could a McKennie or Eriksen still be on the cards? And I think, yes, Eriksen's definitely on the cards. I think, especially as well, the fact that we've got now 4 very solid centre midfielders who cover all the dog work and all the defensive work and everything like that. Now we need a different profile midfielder to come in, and I think Eriksen's the perfect guy for that. And again, a bit like Bissouma, he also gives us a bit more tactical flexibility as well. I actually think he can play in the front 3 as much as he can play in a midfield 3. I think when we're playing against low blocks, he's the perfect person to unlock the. He's the perfect key to unlock the lock, and I think. He'd just be an excellent signing, so I really want him through the door. Sounds like we're seriously interested in him as well.
Yep.
Next story, there's just a story now breaking from Miguel Delaney of The Independent, and he is claiming that Tottenham and Man United are now both in a race to sign Antony from Ajax, the right winger. So obviously we know how Paratici works with multiple fingers in a lot of pies before picking
ridiculous.
One. Sounds like Antony could be one of the players that Tottenham are interested now. Miguel Delaney claiming that Spurs are going to rival Antony for the signature of... are going to rival Man United for the signature of Antony. Obviously, he's had a brilliant season this season at Ajax. He's, I think, 20... how old is he now? I think, 21? Or Antony, or 24? One sec. Get that up. 22 years of age. He's had a bit of a breakout season this season for Ajax. He's a Brazilian right winger, scored 8 goals and 3 assists this season, and the season before got 9 goals. So definitely one who's improving year on year. He's got supreme quality in terms of dribbling ability and speed. How much he'll cost, I'm not 100% sure. There are rumours about 50 million, or maybe it's something that Bergwijn could be used in to sweeten the deal.
Yep.
But we clearly want a right winger with the rumours of Rafinha as well. We definitely want a winger with the rumours of Rafinha.
We're going crazy. We have a 20.
Charlison. Obviously, we know we're in for a forward, and apparently Antony is the latest in a long line of players that we're linked with.
So by the end of this summer, we're going to have a 386-man squad with the rumours we've been linked with. But I'll tell you one thing, Danny, as in Danny Kyriakou, waxes lyrical about this guy. Now, obviously, he watches Ajax a lot. His girlfriend's from Amsterdam, and Ajax is their #1 team. He cannot stop speaking about the quality of this guy and what he could bring to the club. But I've got a little theory with this, and can you remember back in the day? I'm going way back in the day now, where we signed Wilson Palacios. And you're going to wonder, why the hell are you talking Palacios?
Why are you talking Palacios?
Well, here we go. This is when Craig Bellamy was at West Ham and going to Man City, and we wanted Palacios, and so did Man City, and we wanted Bellamy. And a deal came up that they said, listen, we want Bellamy more than you want Bellamy. Tottenham want Palacios more than City did. So they both went, okay, we'll drop out of that race. You both get your players. I've got a funny feeling that we're going in for Man U play, like we do with Pau Torres to try and play games with Bastoni. I've got a feeling this Antony's tried to detract United from Eriksen. I've got a funny feeling. Listen, as much as I'd love Antony, and I thought this was absolutely not a chance until you mentioned Bergwijn. I just think we have got to calm down a little bit. Yes, it's wonderful, all these transfer rumours and everything coming out, but we've got 150, let's say, Champions League money and players in and out. We haven't become Roman Abramovich or Manchester City all of a sudden, where we could just start dropping money like this. As much as I'd love to see it, it's what I wanted to see. I just can't see us getting maybe a Martinez, maybe an Antony, maybe a Rafinha, maybe a Richarlison. Maybe I just can't. They're not all going to come off.
Of course not all of them, but one of them.
Yeah, I just don't think Antony will be the one. As much as I would love him, if, like we were saying, do you remember we were saying if we got Spence, if we got a more experienced and more ready fit player, this would be the dream. These Spence and Antony, but I just can't.
Well, he wouldn't be a wing back, would he, Antony?
That's a good point.
He'd be a winger. But obviously we have Kulu there in his position as well, and also he probably would rather play for Ten Hag, I would assume, than Spurs.
You've got that as well, but apparently, Man, you do really want him.
And under his old manager, you have to think they're more likely to they have some leverage there. But it's still interesting to see the potential that Spurs could be in for Antony, according to Miguel Delaney, which is a very, very interesting potential deal. Moving on, though, we're talking Giovanni Lo Celso, and this is coming from Dario AS from Spain. They say that Atletico Madrid's management believe that Giovanni Lo Celso fits perfectly into the team, and Simeone is also convinced. Tottenham are open to selling, and the midfielder is more than willing to make the move. And TYC Sports also say that Simeone really wants Lo Celso for Atletico Madrid, which is interesting. Maybe we could do a double deal for him and Emerson.
And then
give him something special.
What's the player you said? I forgot his name. When you said
Carrasco,
yeah,
maybe something like that. I definitely think we'll definitely be open to. Obviously, Villarreal, where he was playing this trade last year. Whether he's desperate to go back there or he's very open to going to Atletico Madrid, I don't know. Obviously, Atletico Madrid will definitely be a step up. I think he could work fairly well. And I mean, could he work fairly well in Atletico Madrid? I'm trying to think. So I think for Argentina, he plays usually in a 4-3-3 kind of formation, and if he plays with a 3 in the middle, he could work very well. If they play in that 4-4-2 formation, though, he did fairly well for Villarreal there, but I don't know if that long term, if that's going to be the perfect place for him, because I don't like him on the wing, and I don't know if I like him in midfield too either.
The thing with this one is I think this one is going to be another one that just drags out for most of the summer. We've known that since he left in January, we've pretty much said his Spurs career is over, haven't we? And it looks like where he came from Spain, obviously his mother language is Spanish. It looks like he's going to be settling it. He wants to go back to Spain now. I'm not particularly bothered what club it is, as long as it's a club that he gets out the door. But Villarreal, I think, is his chosen, isn't it? He settled in there well. He got to a Champions League semi-final, and we'll see. But I just have a feeling that this is just going to drag on for a good little while. We ain't seen the end of this, not by a long way.
Yeah, I think so. As much as I think Lo Celso could do a good job at Atletico Madrid. I think he does have that bit of a fighting streak in him, actually, Giovanni Lo Celso. So I actually think I understand why Simeone could be interested in him. Because I do think he's a bit of a fighter, more than people give him credit for. But obviously we want 30 million euros, so Atletico Madrid prepared to pay that. Obviously pay big money on the likes of João Felix and the like. So they've done it before. I mean, Thomas Lemar as well, they spent big money on. Hasn't really worked out when they have spent big money. So whether they can be convinced to splash out a bit on Lo Celso, you have to wait to be seen. But I mean, as well, he's Argentinian and Simeone's an Argentinian, isn't he? So maybe there's a link where he sees him for his country.
What would you accept for him, Simeone? What would you accept?
I think anywhere between 20 to 25 million. Yeah, exactly. That's fine. I think, and then just get rid.
Exactly. We all know if we're going to get rid of these surplus players, on some of them we're going to have to take a hit.
Yeah,
whether
it's
it be minuscule or a hefty hit, but that's the nature of the beast. And we made some bad buys, which we are now correcting big time. But if we need to have our wings clipped with fees because we bought badly, then so be it, just to get them out the door and off the wage bill.
Yeah, have to agree with that. So hopefully that's a deal that we can get done. And the last story we have is from Marco Conterio, who's a chief editor of Tutto Mercato out in Italy. He says Tottenham are trying to renew Harry Kane's contract until 2027. That'll be another 5-year deal for him. Obviously, I'm sure a big pay rise will be included in that. He's on currently, I think, 200 grand a week. Obviously, with all the troubles he had last summer with trying to force a move, that would represent a massive step forward for Spurs and for Kane. And for you, if he does sign that contract, is that him with Spurs for life?
Where is he now? He's coming up to 30 now, isn't he?
He'll be 29 in July. Yeah.
20, okay, so he's approaching 30. I think that'll be. I don't think it'll be him Spurs. I think he'll finish his Premier League career, obviously with Spurs. But I do see him go to the MLS at some point. I do see it, and I reckon if there's another contract that comes in, this one may have a get out clause at some point, like 3 or 4 years in case he can go to America or whatever it may be. But he after the trials and tribulations of last summer, to see Harry Kane fit and firing and ready, the appetite he's going to have at the start of the season to try and get to Jimmy Greaves' record as quickly as possible, which I think he'll do next season, no problem whatsoever. It's exciting times, and Kane signing a long-term contract will again send shockwaves down the Premier League. Yeah,
and that would show real belief that Kane is at a club where he believes he can win things, because we know that that's what he's focused on. We know that he believes that's where he should be challenging for. And I think that would be unbelievable if we could actually get that deal done, considering where we were last year and where we were halfway through last season, when he was really struggling for performances and for motivation and stuff like that. That would be a massive change in 6 months' time, and that'll all be down to Conte and what he's done to the club to change the expectations, 100%. But I really hope that that's something that can be done this summer. I think that would be a fantastic deal for Tottenham, and also for Kane. I do think that if Kane does sign this contract, he's sealing his future at Tottenham for his Premier League career, I think.
What do you reckon? If Kane does sign this one and this goes through, we won't be waiting long till we hear Conte has signed a longer extension? Because I think once we get that, that's the one where it's like, right, here we go. Things aren't going to happen at Spurs. He's here for a considerable or a longer time than we thought. That's what I think a lot of us are waiting to hear. If we see that he has signed on the dotted line, and I think Kane signing one, if this is to be true and to be close, then it can only be a huge positive step in the direction of hearing news from Conte.
Yeah, definitely. And that hopefully that can also be something. In terms of Harry Kane, is it a case for you now? Forgive and forget. It's water under the bridge. Everything's fine now.
So I put my cards on the table. You remember when I went to my first Spurs game with you, which was the Chelsea game, the day that the late great Jimmy Greaves passed away. I was appalled at his performance. I've seen Harry Kane play, obviously not as often as you live, but always seen passion, desire, commitment, running. And the first few games that I saw when I came back in September, it was missing from him. And because he is such a role model, I was so disappointed with him. But since the Liverpool game, he has been back to his. He's been back on his game. He's what's it called? He's directing play. He's running the show. His commitment, all the bad body language and everything I saw has disappeared. So it has definitely been forgiven, definitely been forgotten, in my case anyway. But I will put my hands up and say, unfortunately, I was one of the ones that gave him a very, very hard time. And as I've always said, I'll criticise when I believe people deserve to be criticised, and give them praise, whoever they are, when they deserve it. And yeah, Harry Kane deserves his contract. You got to remember, this season coming up, he's going to break the England scoring record and the Tottenham goal scoring record in the same season. He'll go down with Spurs, and he will be immortal. And long may he continue at Spurs, and the better plaudits will come.
Yeah, let's hope we can get that done, and let's hope that Harry Kane will sign on that dotted line, and that'll be a fantastic deal for the club. And look, a long-term contract with big money. There'll hopefully be no reason for him to want to leave again. But do you reckon maybe if he does sign, there might be a release clause in it? Levy doesn't do release clauses, does he?
I don't know if the way I want to say this, I don't think there'll be a release clause as in a fee. I reckon there may be a break, like let's say halfway or the fourth year of it, to say I can go to America or somewhere if I want to, as opposed to right, if I get a fee in, you let me go, because he'll be getting on in age. And that's what I think. I'm convinced he will end up in the MLS, just like Gerrard did, Rooney did, Lampard did. Beckham, Robbie Keane. I reckon he is going to end up MLS, but please God, not for a long, long time.
All right, that's all we have for the stories today. We're unfortunately not going to be taking on callers today, but I hope you all enjoy your Fridays. It's very, very sunny. Make sure you're hydrated. You drink up. Got your water drinking. This is what we do here at WeAreTottenham TV. We do give health advice. Look, whenever the Bissouma deal gets announced, you'll be the first to know, so don't you worry about that. We'll be back when that gets announced. But look, thank you for joining us for the live stream today. Hope you guys have a good weekend. Like, subscribe and comment. Brian, by the way, thank you for joining me.
My pleasure, brother. Can't wait for next week either, brother.
Come on. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.